Sweden, home to hot blondes, dead Vikings, and the Swedish chef. Now, add another thing to this list. Sweden is now the proud owner of the title, the rape capital of Europe. Sweden has always had a reputation of being a harmonious and liberal society. This image has been shattered as rape has skyrocketed over the past 5 years. At the same time, Sweden has been going through a revolutionary demographic shift that has seen the country take in more refugees from Islamic countries than any Western nation in the world. This immigration has led to culture clashes and to enclaves of self-contained societies across Sweden. This is Annika Henroth Rothstein. She's a Swedish journalist who has extensively covered the Middle Eastern migration into Sweden.
What we have is, first of all, a Swedish culture. Then we bring in, like last year, 190,000 people that come from a very different culture, a culture that isn't liberal, that has radically different views on women, on sexuality, on gender, on all of these things. There's an explosion.
Yeah, it will be clashes.
This is Rinkeby, a leafy northern suburb of Stockholm, also a completely Islamic area. The police have said this is a complete no-go for them and for journalists. Here, a 60 Minutes crew from Australia is attacked while doing a story on Rinkeby.
In order to come here and to prosper, you have to adapt to that culture. And that what we're doing in Europe is the complete opposite. They are saying, how can we adapt to you?
Do you think that Sweden has a responsibility to adapt to the immigrants' culture coming in?
Definitely.
Should a woman, when they come here, dress, modestly, with pants and with sleeves? Is that important?
It is our culture.
If you come to Rinkeby, obviously everywhere is a dress code,
I got a Swedish girlfriend. Sometimes I say we go to Rinkeby, he's scared.
Right.
He's scared.
Is it dangerous here sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah.
We found out exactly how dangerous when, while we were setting up a shoot at a neighboring location, we were approached by 5 men and told to leave. While my crew took off, I stayed to simply ask why we had to leave. Because I was still wired, we had the sound of what happened next. How come it's a problem to film here?
I don't want to be filmed.
I know, but why? What's the why?
I just don't want to. Spawn,
But why?
Let me see. Let me see.
I'm not filming anything. Look.
Show me what you got.
Let go of me.
Show me what you got.
Show me.
Show me you fucking
let go. I'll show you.
I don't want your phone. Show me.
Let go and I'll I was not the first person assaulted by gangs of immigrants, nor will I be the last. But women are taking the brunt of the explosion of violence across Sweden. When I went to a police station, I noticed that the vast majority of the people waiting to report a crime were women. Later, the police officer who I met with told me that most were there to report rape. These attacks are happening across Sweden, including a rash of rapes at music festivals. Over the past 2 years, dozens of young women, some as young as 12, were raped at these festivals across Sweden by hundreds of young immigrants. They use the tactic where dozens of men surround one or more girls in circles. While the men in the inner circle sexually attacks their victims, the outer circle distracts and keeps out anyone who would stop it. The attacks have become so common that some bands, most notably Mumford & Sons, refuse to play in Sweden.
This has happened multiple times and to multiple victims. Then the issue is that when it is reported, this was widely known by the people who were there, the police that was on the scene, but then they put the lid on it. So
They covered it up.
They covered it up. So we didn't learn about this until much, much later.
While the police have told me that the majority of the people that they arrest for rape are from Islamic backgrounds, BRA, the official keeper of Swedish crime statistics, curiously dropped the background of those arrested from the official statistics.
The government has failed to recognize that it's made a huge mistake. And the European Union has failed to recognize that it's made a huge mistake. And we have this free movement. And the movement, of course, is flowing toward the country with the most generous social benefit system.
The type of benefits that immigrants receive in Sweden are significant and are all-encompassing, and include housing, food, education, and additional cash.
Does the government give enough to the immigrants?
Yeah, everything's enough. This good world here.
Yeah, life is good here. Better.
Yes, life is good, better here.
They give me a lot. They give me a house, room, clothes, my school.
All the Swedish
all
government
things.
pays for it.
While the staggering increase in rape has made some news, this phenomenon has been coupled with a shocking and less widely reported increase in violent crime in general. Over the past couple of years, several dangerous immigrant riots have broken out, and shootings across Sweden have increased sharply. Anders Gorazin and Jacob Ekstrom are veteran and decorated policemen who have decades of experience and are tasked with policing within the immigrant community. Has there been an increase in violence and crime here in Sweden?
More violence and harder violence with the guns and...
What type of weapons are you guys seeing on the streets?
You can see Kalashnikovs, hand grenades from the east, guns, handguns, everything you can find in Afghanistan you can find here.
Doesn't Sweden have very strict gun laws?
For sure, you know, and we get, all the time we get new laws about guns, tightened up more. I think it's good, but you know, the violence increased anyway.
This is a former police station which had to be moved a couple of years ago. Now the police will tell you that it simply became too unsafe for them to have a full-time presence here. This man has been playing the accordion for several years, trying to bring some musical cheer to the suburb. Yet, he has faced numerous attacks.
My music, and the people, boo, the police, please.
You need the police here?
Yeah, it's the police, they go back the police here.
Would you go as far as to say that these no-go areas are essentially states within a state?
Yeah, most of the no-go areas is like that.
Are there areas where if you're pursuing somebody, where you'll simply stop and not pursue them once they get into this no-go area?
Yeah.
If the police is chasing another car for some kind of crime, if they reach what we call no-go areas, the police wouldn't go after it.
Do you see the violence really spreading across Sweden into the cities?
At least 1 or 2 times a week.
And let's say 5 years ago, how often would you say it was?
No.
3 times a year.
Really? The increase in this kind of crime is exponential.
I think we caught off guard. We didn't expect it to be so much increase.
Do you think there's a deliberate attempt to cover up these type of crimes?
Rather than that they don't want to seem racist.
Is there a sort of sensitivity or people scared that if you identify who's committing these type of crimes, that you could be labeled a racist?
Of course, I think these issues make people nervous all over the world, not only even in Sweden. It's make me nervous as well, if we're talking about it.
Because you don't want to be called racist?
No, this racist card is very hard to deal with, you know. Of course, especially if you're blonde like me.
And now to add to these woes, Sweden has had dozens of people go to fight for ISIS, and they're starting to come back. Sweden has had its first Islamic terrorist attack. Do you think the sexual assault problem is an Islamic problem or not really?
No, I think it's a general problem among men.
Yeah, the problem isn't like this culture or that culture. The problem is male culture.
I don't think the immigrants is the problem.
No, it's not. Like, that's just like a tiny bit of the problem. And like, when that happens, like, it's because we didn't like bring them in the right way.
And I don't see that connection at all. And I would very much like to see the evidence of such a connection.
Do you think it's almost racist to make that connection?
Yes, I think so.
Is there a point where you think that Sweden's done too much to bring people in, or do you think there's...
No, there is no too much in helping people.
And is there a limit, do you think, to how many immigrants Sweden can take?
No.